Hi, it's Sai. Wow, okay. The Fnaf movie was sick. Like, I really had a blast watching it. I like horror now, unlike when I was younger, so it was a really cool watch. I previously did a Fnaf video humanizing the Fnaf 1 characters, and now I'll do the Fnaf 2 characters since the Fnaf 2 movie is out. For those who don't know, Fnaf, which stands for Five Nights at Freddy's, is a horror game made by Scott Cawthon, who used to make, I think, children's games, but people said the characters looked creepy and animatronic-like, so he said fuck it, y'all want scary, and created FNAF, a game which you are a security guard on a night shift having to watch over the security cameras to make sure everything is okay, but surprise surprise, the animatronics are alive and are trying to get into your office and kill you. So you have to survive 5 nights of this. There is 11 more games of this, plus other spin-off games. They all are lore heavy and tell a story about this FNAF verse, so it's really interesting to watch, especially seeing people make theories and solving mysteries. Me and my sister were into this fandom since the early days. It had this charm where cringy things were made. Animation, ship, fan art, stories, all the cringy stuff you could think of, and oddly enough, it was fun to see it back in the day, even if it was some questionable things. So my sister and I decided on designing them as human, though she designed all of them, but I'm drawing them so you guys could be a bit entertained when I tell you the story she made for them and about the design. Also, I got to do one animatronic. Just one. Also, unlike the other FNAF 1 characters, I won't go full render on them since I was in a time crunch and really had to get these done. They don't look good at all and are like really messy and lazy, so again, my bad. But it's still them in my style, so yeah. Alright, now let's get on with the video. This version of Freddy is the new and improved. The original ones were replaced and kept in the back room, and the toy animatronics took their place. The most forgotten one, if I'm going to be honest, Toy Freddy definitely appears the least times out of all the other toy animatronics in other games. Not counting cameos, he's only appeared in Ultimate Custom Night, FNAF World, and Help Wanted. No, I will not bring up that mobile game. He isn't my favorite. He is just like a normal animatronic for me. I also don't like the way I drew him, so damn, that isn't helping. Toy Freddy is a character that kept his concept design practically the same as the final design, just without the pants being striped and the boots having no shoelaces. He has a top hat with a red ribbon around it, and he has a black bow tie with laces, so to not match Freddy, only having the white gloves like he does. Again, it's to not like touch the kids because they're like ewy and gross. Also, so no blame goes to them if a kid gets sick. Since they're the same animals, he has a wide nose and bear-shaped ears. You can't see it well in my sister's like design thing because she was in a hurry, but like, you know, you get it. He gets freckles like Freddy, but has makeup on the cheeks and longer eyelashes. His hair is slightly pushed back a little, and the lighter color shade on his hair is because of the second color the animatronic has around the stomach. She's accidentally going back to her roots of inspiration. Pull bear FNAF Gajinkas, if you remember that. His outfit is supposed to give kind of like a circusy performer theme with a long tailcoat and gold chains around the stomach area. They'll all have gold chains to match. In the world they live in, ghosts can possess a body as long as the soul died with hatred and regret, and go to a body that they have a connection with, so strangers don't really see them. That was said in the last video of the FNAF 1 characters who worked in the pizzeria in 1980s and 1990s. For these characters, they are working at Freddy's Pizzeria in 1987, where they replaced the original one because they wanted younger people to work with the kids. Since the originals got older, ironically though, they ended up rehiring the original ones since a murder ended up killing the toy ones. Okay, so now the toys will have names, like all characters, but I'll only say them one time and then they are called like their animatronic names, so like no confusion. Toy Freddy's real name is Bernard. He is a very cheerful and friendly guy who likes to make friends with everyone and play video games. He is someone who probably wouldn't realize that he was bothering you and making you feel down on yourself. Toy Freddy has one younger sibling, and they definitely don't get along. His parents love his younger sibling more. Anything he wants, he gets, and he gets to get away with everything. Toy Freddy was the one to always apologize and deal with the consequences. It's unfair to him. So when he was old enough, he left immediately. He later on decided to work at Freddy's Pizzeria, a pizza place he really liked when he was younger. He would finally be the center of attention, the star of the show, and all will praise and adore him. For the night guards, what happens is that he wants to be friends with them, and when they don't really help him the way he wants, like the help, he just gets rid of them. It's always an accident. He does feel a little sorry for them, but it's the night guard's fault. They should have been different. You would definitely see this guy playing a lot of video games on his time off. He'd become a streamer if he got the chance to live in the 2000s. After the place being open for about a month, almost 2, my sister knows that it was open for only 2 or 3 weeks, but she's keeping it open for a little longer as to make something make sense, time-wise. I don't know. The same killer that was responsible for the missing children incident came back. The toys found out William was the killer. He ended up killing the 5 of them and 5 kids because they were witnesses and tried protecting the children they, grew attached to. Didn't mention this, but the toys became friends with these 5 kids. It's supposedly to connect the 5 dead kids with the toy characters without making them siblings again. Only the puppets survived because they weren't there at the time of the murder. Toy Freddy's biggest flaw is that he can't keep friends because he doesn't really know what a friend should be or act. He has the idea on how a friend should be, and it's not really good. Acceptable to a bad degree, no arguing, and strictly fair. So when they act a certain way that is not what he believes they should, he tries to change them to his fitting. Alright, it's a rushed drawing, but at least I got him done and all his chunkiness. That's Toy Freddy. This version of Chica is the new and improved. The original ones were replaced and kept in the back of the room, and the toy animatronics took their place. The one animatronic that people like for her design choice, I guess. Anyway, she appears on the left vent and the middle hallway and is always without her beak and her eyes. They change from time to time. You need the flashlight and Freddy mask to not get a game over with her. Toy Chica's the one that appears in the usual games that the others appear in. Fnaf 3, Fnaf World, Help Wanted, etc. So sadly, I love this Chica more than the original Chica. I don't know, this Chica is so cunty. I can't explain it. I like bad bitch characters. I can't help it. In the concept design my sister did, Toy Chica had a different hairstyle, earrings, an open chest, stockings, and the skirt had puffy laces. All of those were taken out in the final design. I don't know why. She does have earrings, but her hair hides them. Kind of silly of her. I guess they only show when her hair is up. Okay, so in my sister's words, I'm disappointed that I couldn't do more with Toy Chica's design on the lower half. I wanted to add more on the skirt and add more to the shoes, but we were on a time limit, so this is all I could put. It's not super awful, but it's enough to put out there. I will vouch for her because we were in a big ass time crunch. It was awful. Anyways, Toy Chica is slimmer than Chica because I guess William don't like thick women. Since she's all about looks, she has makeup on to look her best. For her outfit, she has a white button shirt that's closed this time with a yellow coat on top, and around her arms are extra sleeves. My sister didn't want to give her pink shorts or a skirt. I don't know, she just didn't like the look of it, but to keep the pink color, she gave her a bow around her neck and a sash clipped to her wrists, inspired by Fire Emblem dancers, and she'd want to look pretty and elegant when performing. Her skirt ended up being a matching yellow to her coat with an apron around her waist that has a lot of like ribbon layers. And since she refuses to work in the kitchen, she doesn't get stockings. And finally, she has heels with a cute bow on the back. For her personality, she likes baking, but she just doesn't want to be near like the company's kitchen. For her real name, it's Cecilia. She's a woman who knows she is beautiful and loves to take that to her advantage. Her mother got anything she wanted because of her looks, so she will too. When she was younger, she was curious of the unsolved murder cases that her mother saw on TV. The details in them made her very curious of how bodies actually look like without the blurs. She wanted to see more, hence her whole murderous thing. As she got older, she decided to try it out with her high school classmates. She'd say an excuse to make them go to her house and end their life. She was going to do the same with Toy Bonnie, but he was sort of like her, a little crazy, so she decided to stop on the killings for now. Though she focused on other hobbies after that, like art and being a confectionist. Once she got hired at Freddy Pizzeria, a little after Toy Bonnie, with the money her parents have. They both work together in entertaining kids for the praise only, and in getting away with murders when the night guards are alone. She became friends with one of the 5 kids. They are kind and funny, so they became friends. Oddly enough, she usually doesn't get along with kids, but for some reason she did with them. After working there for around 2 months, she convinced herself to stay after hours to help the kid be able to go home. In the night, though, the kid along with Toy Chica were murdered by the murderer who caused the 5 missing children's incident. She is someone who sees no flaws in herself. She is perfect and beautiful, and whatever she wants, she gets no matter what she has to do or how much blood she has to spill. And she does it with no remorse or regret. I love the way I did her legs and skirt. I don't know, but it's just nicely shaded. She looks like such a diva and the pose fits her. That's Toy Chica for y'all. This version of Bonnie is the new and improved. The original ones were replaced and kept in the back room, and the toy animatronics took their place. He is known as being one of the most annoying animatronics to deal with because of his AI and animation time. He appears on the right vent, and if you don't put on the Freddy mask, he jump scares you. He doesn't appear as often as his other toy friends. He makes more cameos than Toy Freddy and mostly appears in Fnaf World, Ultimate Custom Night, and Help Wanted. They are a diva, really. I don't know. They give me a sassy vibes. I kind of like them, but back then I hated his guts. I like Bonnie, so the fact that this was his replacement pissed me off. But now I'm cool with him. He's slaying. In my sister's first concept design, Bonnie was almost the same. He had a corset on and his gloves actually had the puffy laces connected. Now it's a coat that connects the long skirt coattail with stars at the end instead of gold ends. His gloves don't connect anymore. The laces are part of the suit instead. He also doesn't have the puffed out collar. Other than that, there isn't any difference on his outfit design. For what was gonna be on his face was more star stickers, but she didn't want to repeat that like Bonnie, so she scrapped it. And also they have really long eyelashes. Like with Toy Freddy and Toy Chica, the face is mostly the same as the originals because they are the same animals. Besides the eye shapes, they both have a bunny nose and an unattached earlobes. But unlike Bonnie, Toy Bonnie has bunny teeth, freckles, and makeup because it's what his animatronic has. She didn't give him super long hair like Bonnie because she represented Bonnie's hair as ears and Toy Bonnie represents a bunny tail. The anime cowlick is there to represent the bent ear Toy Bonnie has, oddly enough, and the tips are the same color as the markings around the eye and stomach of the animatronic. He has a semi-loose loose, odd-looking bow tie. He wanted to look unique or something like that. And like the other two, he has gold chains somewhere on him, on the middle part of the coat and the shoes. The gold around his wrists is a bracelet with a star chain. So Toy Bonnie's real name is Percival. He's very self-centered, snobby, stuck-up, and has a high ego. Now, if you thought Bonnie was bad in his ego, Toy Bonnie is worse. He believes that he is talented and no one can be on his level. Well, except Bonnie, surprisingly. Bonnie and him are actually friends. Usually everyone always makes them rivals or enemies. It's even canon that they wouldn't get along. But after they figured out that they both love metal, they became fast friends. My sister's a sucker for people with the same music taste to be besties. She couldn't help herself. Toy Bonnie was a kid that also was born in a rich household with loving parents. He got whatever he wanted, so he wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life. Until at a young age, he was only friends with Toy Chica and just kind of stuck with her for a long time. He eventually met teens that listened to heavy metal. At first, it wasn't his style, but he fell down the rabbit hole, pun intended, and now loves the genre of music. So now, with his time and money, he decided to practice in becoming a heavy metal singer and guitarist. Alright, for you metalhead-loving people, I know you guys are gonna say, yeah, but like Bonnie and Toy Bonnie seem like the type who would do rock. Sure, they could do rock, but heavy metal is like cool, so we're just gonna leave it there because heavy metal is cool. Cool? Okay. He joined in many school talent shows and competitions. He always won first place. You can bet it fed his ego. He wanted to go higher though. When he got older, he joined the band at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to show off his guitar skills to a lot of people to get praises. And for another reason. While being childhood friends with Toy Chica, she showed him random murder cases that she became interested in. Toy Bonnie only became interested in the 5 missing children incident. The murder was never identified and Toy Bonnie didn't care. He just cared about the aftermath. The murders that happened years later, the one where all the night guards kept dying. He knew deep down that it was the original 4 that have done the killings, but he wasn't the type to tell the police. He was the type to want to get hired by the company along with Toy Chica just to see if he can also get away with murdering the night guards, which is what he does. He became friends with one kid, surprisingly, one he felt bad for and got along with. After working for almost 2 months, he found himself face to face with the murder of the incidents all those years ago, trying to protect a child he didn't think he would ever bother doing anything for. He was murdered along with that child. His flaws were already said. He has a ridiculously high ego and he sees everyone as inferior to him. I guess that's why it was really weird to see him being friends with Bonnie, Toy Chica, and a kid. It didn't really work that much on his. I feel like his posing is too scrunched up and the colors are too muddy because of the shading. But at last he is done. Toy Bonnie, everyone. This version of Foxy is the new and improved. The original ones were replaced and kept in the back room, and the toy animatronics took their place. Mangle is an animatronic that is roughed up because kids these days can't keep their hands to themselves, and the staff grew tired of fixing them, so they left them as is. Mangle appears on the right vent, and if not stopped, they will appear on the ceiling until you get distracted and then get jump scared. They later on appear on later games like Fnaf 3, Fnaf 4, Halloween DLC, Fnaf World, and other main games. So I actually got to design Human Mangle, homage to the old one that I did back then. I really love Mangle. They were my first favorite animatronic. I don't know, just their color scheme were so pretty, so I like them. Also, the mangled look was sick. I wanted to design them in a full design rather than the whole mangled up thing. Sure, I know the mangled up thing is what makes Mangle, but hear me out. This is how they started out. And then the whole mangled up look is like later down the line, like the storyline where it gets rough. I wanted to accentuate the pink and white color palette I really liked. I gave them so many bows. I mean, you could never have enough bows. Some lacy gloves, headband, and apron since they took care of kids. Added the laces coming from the tucks to look like the metal from the animatronic. The gold chain thing are for like matching the others. They are wearing laced socks too, to wear on the carpet of the place, but when they are working on the floor where it's like the restaurant part, they wear like show shoes. Lastly, their tux has a frilly tailcoat so it looks like a dress from behind, because you know, they are androgynous. Mangle's real name is Candy, spelled K-A-N-D-I. Mangle was a kid in foster care that was passed around from family to family. It was horrible for Mangle. None of the homes they went to felt like a home. They were abusive and isolated them all the time. Only until they became an adult did their high school teacher basically adopt them into their home with her wife, and they both became Mangle's mothers and were very accepting parents to Mangle. Mangle is very sweet, calm, and playful. They have 2 younger siblings, so they grew to love kids and wanted to become a teacher like their mother. So they actually go to college and work at Freddy's pizzeria at the same time. Mangle enjoyed their work during the first few days. They watched over kids, read stories. They even changed their voice between male and female to make the story seem more alive and helped them learn numbers and shapes. That's until kids decided to be bold and ruin their head accessory. But Mangle was patient. They tried correcting them, but kids don't really listen. They ruined their outfit, hair by pulling, ripping, and coloring over. Of course, the staff didn't do anything to help because they already tried once and grew tired of trying. Plus, it wasn't their job. The other toys were always too busy to help too. Mangle, of course, didn't tell their parents in fear of being a burden to them, even if it caused them to be a little distant from their little siblings. They held in their feelings. Usually, they don't bother getting to the night guard like the others do, but after a long day at work, you just want to lash out at someone. They can't bring themselves to harm a kid that just wasn't taught by their parents how to keep their hands to themselves, especially when there was this one kid that never hurt them. They always apologize for the other kids and help fix their hair. They were very sweet and liked listening to the stories Mangle read. They became very close friends. After working for almost 2 months at Freddy's Pizzeria, they tried looking for where their friend lived so they could return them home. A kid can't be in the pizzeria after hours, but a murder came by to stop that. Both Mangle and the kid were killed that day, and the murderer got away with it. A flaw they have comes from being in foster care. They don't ask for help and express their feelings to others. They would rather be nice and patient, so whenever they are alone without wanting to, they get frustrated at many things because of bottling up their feelings. They ended up being traumatized by the kids they worked for. They sometimes panic when they feel a tug at their clothes or when a loud, active kid comes too close to them. They end up freezing. They turned out so cute. Their colors are pretty and the posing is so doll-like. I posed them in that way so it looked like, you know, like doing storytelling on a carpet type of look. I don't know, but something like that. Alrighty, Mangle's finished. Balloon Boy is a humanoid animatronic that everybody hates just for the reason that he's annoying to deal with and his laugh feels like a taunt. In the first nights, he will go in the left vent to stop the player from using the flashlight to stop the animatronics, which eventually ends in a game over. After the second game, he also makes appearances in other games like Ultimate Custom Night or Fnaf World, and some others, but with a different look, like Fnaf 3 or Fnaf 4, the Halloween DLC. I honestly really like Balloon Boy. He was one of my favorite animatronics when the game came out. A lot of people hate him, but I like him personally. His personality is like being a menace and I like it. For the design, one of the main differences is that he no longer has fluffy curly hair. My sister thought that he looked too much like Freddy from the first video, so she flattened it a little and made it curl up to fit in more with like how the animatronic looks like, and to make little devil horns on the side of his head as a little hint that he is not as nice as he looks. He now has suspenders, unlike in the concept design. It's to hold up the pants since they are a bit big on him. He also has a shirt with a collar and laces around the buttons as to not make the shirt be so simple. She also added a weird balloon holder. I guess it holds deflated balloons, and he inflates the inflated balloons and has like a hook to attach the balloons that are inflated, as to be able to hold a sign and one balloon to gift it to a child. Nothing else is different or new on him that the animatronic already has. He is a human character, so not much was needed other than eyes and nose shape and cheek coloring. His real name is Lucien. He's a kid with a pranking streak, very mischievous and loves to criticize people behind a smile and a happy attitude. He mostly got whatever he wanted, mostly. There were times he got in trouble by his father because he would cause problems. His mother died through unknown means. He never knew what happened to her, and his father didn't know how to properly raise a kid on his own, so he just gave Balloon Boy whatever he wanted. Balloon Boy always got sick of all of the expensive gifts. He always ended up bullying someone or causing a huge problem that resulted in having to pay a lot. But in the end, it was worth it because he got what he actually wanted, attention from his father, even if it was just grounding him. One day he went with his father to Freddy's pizzeria. His father works there as a high manager. Balloon Boy ended up destroying the machine that was giving balloons to the kids. That's how Balloon Boy got his little part-time job at Freddy's as punishment from his father for breaking the machine. It really shouldn't be allowed, but his father is one of the managers and the owners don't really care, so he is now a part of the group. Not really what Balloon Boy had planned, but at least he can mess with many adults and talk with other kids. Mostly with one kid that became his friend and were like two peas in a pod. With the night guards, he didn't really do any killing. He will not get his hands dirty for some fun in seeing a human being getting killed and begging for mercy. He only helps from time to time in distracting them for the others to do all the work. After working at the pizzeria for a month or so, he was murdered along with a kid he was friends with, who he was trying to help escape from a murder. His flaws are pretty obvious. He always needs attention and validation, even if it means he has to hurt people to get that. Anyways, here's the boy. He's so scrunkly and looking like a whole menace at the same time, and it works. I like his expression, but that's really it. Balloon Boy's done. The puppet isn't really a replacement of anyone, although there is a look-alike called Security Puppet. They're not the same animatronic. They are very well known by any Fnaf fan, and they appear in a lot of future games and given more lore. They are the reason you need to keep playing the music box. If you don't wind it up, you get a game over. I like Puppet. I would love watching videos where they would like be very silly with the rest of the cast, but knowing the puppet now, I feel like they wouldn't be much, and that's kind of what I like of them now. They are so mysterious and I love it. Now, the concept design looks, in her words, really simple and plain for a brand new opening. I'm glad I changed it to be something better, something more detailed and flowy with a slight creepy aspect. The old design had only a weird shirt and pants combo with long sleeve gloves, and the hair was too long for my sister's liking and didn't make sense with the mask structure. So the puppet's hair was changed to be shorter, with it being like a little bit longer in the front. My sister drew the puppet mask to be a little different than the original Fnaf puppet design, mostly as to make it feel a little more unique, even if it's literally mostly the same. It's also because when my sister was younger, she accidentally drew the puppet like this since she did them by memory rather than using a reference. We can skip talking about the face since you can't see their face. So for the outfit she gave them is a long coat that's tattered at the end for creepiness, held on by 3 buttons. Under the coat is a uniform all the way to the neck to hide it, and a white tie, just to not make it too much black clothing. On the puppet's arms and legs are some extra sleeves. I don't know what they're called, though the ones on the legs were inspired by Roy from Fire Emblem Blazing Blade, but the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate design. It was to make it seem like their legs are long and floaty. Alright, we get it. My sister's a Fire Emblem fan, can you guys tell? They have some kind of platform boots because they don't perform. And finally, they have a strap around their middle arm and wrist with strings attached to them. It's to make kids believe that they are a puppet, but the strings move around with them, not against them. The strings don't restrict movement at all. Their real name is... The puppet is a quiet and reserved person who would rather be alone. They also sometimes talk to themselves, or is there someone else? The puppet has plenty of experience in taking care of kids and playing pretend and acting a character, as if they've done it before. They are supposed to be a mysterious character. They only had one past job years ago that was part-time for them. What they did there? Who knows? Puppet is a very secretive person. After that job, though, they kind of disappeared for a while, then came back and started working at Freddy's Pizzeria. The new one, of course. At night, it gets difficult for the puppet to remain calm. They become agitated and attacks strangers, which is the night guard. So if a lullaby from the music box isn't playing, they lash out without wanting to kill the night guard. After working at the pizzeria for a month or so, they were at home instead of staying behind at work because everyone was telling them that they had things handled with the 5 lost children that were still in the pizzeria. The children were also attached with the remaining staff than the puppet, so they left. The puppet had this voice in their head telling them to leave and not to stay. The next day, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Toy Freddy, Mangle, and Balloon Boy were all murdered, and the 5 kids. They ended up being a suspect, but were released when they proved that they weren't at the scene when it happened. After that incident, the puppet went to the original 4 to warn them that they were next, but they were also murdered. The puppet disappeared for some years until a new place opened and they heard that familiar lullaby again. Their flaw is that they are still guilty about that day. They are someone that has no flaws. Not saying that they are a perfect being, but more like they are someone who's lived for a while and hasn't had any hardships with family or friends, since they prefer not to make any. It's kind of funny how a person who acts a puppet doesn't like being attached to others. Anyways, lastly, we got the puppet done. It was really rushed and the shading is messy, but I really like their look. It's so mysterious and has that creepy look to it. There you have it, the puppet. Thank you for watching. This had a lot more characters than FNAF 1. Please comment your favorite, I would love to know, and so would my sister. When we have more time, we will do either sister location or the humans in FNAF, like William or Michael. But that's when we have time, cause man, we are so busy. Like, this script sounds so rushed. I don't know if you guys could hear it, or I just sound so tired voicing this, and the drawings are really like bad and the designs look a little bit rushed, and the script also sounds really weird and the way I'm reading it. We were just so rushed and it was just so bad. I'm so sorry for this, but please don't hesitate to follow me so you could see when the next FNAF video will be up, and we will put more time into it because we won't rush it like this one because FNAF decided to release earlier in theaters. Alright, have a good rest of your day and bye.